we're going to learn much more this week about big media and the big media cover-up in the whole Joe Biden scandal. You know it well. You know it well. Well, there was lots of cover-up going on for a whole bunch of time. But it's in part because you've got this fake news apparatus that just chooses to do whatever it wants to do to support the deep state, effectively. This came up again today because Donald Trump has been offered a plane by Qatar. Now, Boeing, for whatever reason, can't seem to get its act together and deliver the plane. It's been ordered, and they've had delay after delay after delay after delay, and they've had all kinds of problems, and for whatever reason, Boeing can't get its act together and can't get the parts together, and so he can't get a new Air Force One. So Qatar came along and said, hey, we'll give you one, and we won't even charge you for it. And the media's kind of flipping out. And like, look, I get it. Like, you kind of want to have an American-made plane and you kind of want to not have any appearance of conflict, et cetera. But Donald Trump's such a realist that he's like, heck, they're going to give me a plane for free? Like, why wouldn't I take that deal? Why charge taxpayers $1 billion if I can get a plane for free, man, right? He slammed an ABC reporter as she asked this question. It's pretty epic. Let's watch.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC, well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us, I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. There was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto: when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received anything?
It's not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better, because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is a disaster. ABC is a disaster.
Right. Yeah, and by the way, the FCC's coming for ABC. Don't forget, Brennan Carr's made that very, very clear, including with multiple letters to Bob Iger. You listening, Whoopi? Anyway, that's really amazing. So he's saying, hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, basically. This is a great opportunity. Why wouldn't I take this? Here he is explaining it again. Important to understand.
But it's called Most Favored Nation. We are going to pay the lowest price there is in the world. We will get whoever is paying.
Hang tight. We're going to get another soundbite of the president here reporting that Qatar is willing to give him this, willing to give the Defense Department this. And he says, look, I'm not a stupid person. I could be a stupid person and I could say no, but why would I do that? Because, Sam Snead, the golfer.
On Qatar, has Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet? And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
Well, I think what happens with the plane is that, we're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. We have an Air Force One that's 40 years old. And if you take a look at that compared to the new plane of the equivalent, stature at the time, it's not even the same ballgame. You look at some of the Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane. It's like from a different planet. And it's close to 40 years old, might be more than 40 years old now. And we, when I first came in, I signed an order to get it built. I took it over from the Obama administration. They had originally agreed. I got the price down much lower. And then when the election didn't exactly work out the way that it should have, a lot of work was not done on the plane because a lot of people didn't know. They made change orders that were so stupid, so ridiculous. And it ended up being a total mess, a real mess. And when I came back, I said, by the way, what's going on with the Boeings that are coming in? Well, sir, they're way behind. And they're way behind. They were way behind. Another mess that I inherited from Biden. And it's going to be a while before we get them. And I think Qatar, who has really, we've helped them a lot over the years in terms of security and safety. I think they, and very, very nicely, and I have a lot of respect for the leadership and for the leader, Qatar. And I think they knew about it because they buy Boeings. They buy a lot of Boeings. And they knew about it. And they said, we would like to do something. And if we can get a 747 as a contribution to our Defense Department to use during a couple of years while they're building the other ones, I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too. And it helps us out because, again, we're talking about we have 40-year-old aircraft. The money we spend, the maintenance we spend on those planes to keep them tippy-top is astronomical. You wouldn't even believe it. So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person, say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture. And I think it was a gesture because of the fact that we have helped and continue to, we will continue to, all of those countries, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, and others. We keep them safe. If it wasn't for us, they probably wouldn't exist right now. And I think this was just a gesture of good faith.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who...
It was quite a gesture. And of course, you've got all kinds of good things going on right now as a result of what happened with the trade agreement, of what happened there with drug prices coming down, and the overall sort of optimism that you can feel sort of effectively in the air. I want to go to more sound because the president just spoke out and said, look, we've turned the corner with China. We're going to get a deal here. We got a 90-day pause as they work out some of the details here, but it sounds like a 10% increase in tariffs. I want to go to the president speaking moments ago on.
In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva. Both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed after April 2nd to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue on the larger structural issues. And I want to tell you that a couple of things. First of all, that doesn't include the tariffs that are already on, that are our tariffs, and it doesn't include tariffs on cars, steel, aluminum, things such as that, or tariffs that may be imposed on pharmaceuticals, because we want to bring the pharmaceutical businesses back to the United States, and they're already starting to come back now based on tariffs.
Wow. Okay. So lots of good news. Unc Andy, thank you for the generosity. Much appreciated. I had the nicest viewers here. Anyway, it's not just Donald Trump who's saying that. You're also hearing now from Scott Bessent, who went over there and really kind of, I mean, he's just revived everything. Remember after Liberation Day, there was a lot of hand wringing. Well, now Scott Bessent comes in and I'm looking at some video feed being fed from Bloomberg right now. And he's saying the Chinese delegation basically told us that once Biden came into office, they just ignored their obligations. Are you kidding me? So like Biden didn't enforce anything. They ignored it. This is a rather remarkable thing that Scott is saying. Let's listen quickly.
In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva.
What has to happen is it has to be fair for the American people. But in January 2020, President Trump produced a template. We had an excellent trade agreement with China, and the Biden administration chose not to enforce it. The Chinese delegation basically told us that once President Biden came into office, they just ignored their obligations.
Kind of like surreal, right? I mean, you're like, what was going on? Like, who was in charge of what? Who was running the country, for goodness sakes? I mean, this is what's going to come out now. There's a big media cover-up that's going to be exposed. It's definitely going to be exposed Scott Jennings, who's like the only Republican on CNN, so we give him lots of props for going on that channel, which nobody watches. But maybe they need to like replicate a few more Scotts, and they might be in a better situation. He went on, and he was making the point that there are going to be a lot of people in the Democrat establishment and in the media that are going to get exposed over this. Let's take a listen.
Watching him on The View today and watching some of the interviews he did over.
Thank you for your viewership.
Yeah, I saw it. It's rare for me, but I did watch it. I will just say, watching him over the last few days reminded me that a whole bunch of people were telling us with a straight face that this man was capable of serving another 4 years as president. And that these appearances, coupled with what I understand is going to be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb dropped on the Democratic Party when Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book come out next week, I don't know that the Democrats have fully internalized what's about to happen to them. Between what he looks like today and what they're about to report, get ready.
I am not sure that Joe.
You just said that
what did he not say?
You said that he told Kamala Harris that she could not have any distance
False.
from him.
It's been reported. He told
it doesn't
her
matter what he
point
was.
blank. He told her point blank, no daylight, kid, no daylight.
Because reporting can never be wrong?
Are you attacking the journalism around it?
You think reporting can never be wrong?
If you want to be anti-journalism,
you come on here and you attack reporting every night.
I do not.
We actually asked him the question
There's critical
directly.
reporting about this guy, and he told her point
blank,
no daylight.
We asked him directly today. Right. Did you tell her that?
You think he's ever told a lie?
I don't think he tells many lies.
Cognitive decline, I can tell you that much.
I don't think he tells many lies. I don't think he's done.
Come on.
Well, wait. No, you know why you don't get to laugh like that? Because you support a guy who lies every freaking day and lies continuously. You support a guy who cannot acknowledge that he lost the 2020 election and that lies about it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's in Jake. Have you read it? Have you read it?
Guys, we got to go. Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
Well, that kind of became unhinged really fast. So here's the thing. Scott's right. The media did lie. Anna's wrong. Like she's actually part of the cover-up, right? The View is a big part of the cover-up. So is MSNBC. So is CNN. And, the irony of this is he's saying, when Jake Tapper's book comes out this week, and I'm like, Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. I'm sorry. Jake Tapper was one of the biggest proponents of the lie. Okay, and now Jake Tapper is so gross enough that he is going to try to make a buck off of the very lies by telling you a whole bunch more lies. And when I get the tape, so I'm going to just show you. Remember when he went after Lara Trump pretty spectacularly, accusing her of being really mean and what do you say to kids that stutter all over the country because you're trying to say that Joe Biden just stutters, or rather, Joe Biden has some kind of mental decline when he just has a stutter. No. This was so much more than a stutter. And you know what? Jake Tapper, you are a schmuck for trying to make a buck after the fact, after you did this. Crummy people, I'll tell you.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
you have
to watch somebody on stage search for
so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive decline.
That Joe Biden
I have one last
struggling
question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel sorry for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure.
Yeah. What a dirtbag is right. Remember this particular video? Actually, I gotta say, what a dirtbag is right. I'm just looking at your comments here in real time. This is the video where I really just developed a love for Georgia Maloney. I mean, in fact, not disputing the fact that she's conservative, which means, I love her even more. But here she is. She went out of her way to go and get poor Joe. And you can see how slow he's moving as he tries to put on his sunglasses. He had been distracted by the people with the parachutes over on the side. And they were supposed to be doing a photo op. And she's just such a nice lady. She went over there and got him. And it really showed you some insight, I think, into her character. Peace of my mind writing, journalism is just dead. That's what this shows you. It's so gross. I mean, the guy who sat there and fought with Lara Trump over her saying it didn't seem like Joe was in the best of health is now putting out a book about how the media totally tried to cover this up, but he covered it up. Like he was one of the chief engineers of that. And then he's so proud of the fact that once the debate came around and we could see that Joe Biden was in really, really bad shape and it was broadcast live and nobody could do anything more about it, that's when he decided to fire off, I guess, when his buddy George Clooney and David Plouffe and David Axelrod and Barack Obama all got together and they said, okay, now we got to take him down. Listen, guys, I'm telling you, you weren't going to win with him. You weren't going to win with Kamala. And you weren't going to win because you had lousy policies. You just heard from Scott Bessent, Scotty B, saying the Chinese told them nobody bothered to enforce anything with Biden. Like nobody was doing anything, okay? They were, other than giving out $22 billion to the likes of all these green energy sweetheart deals and NGOs like Stacey Abrams' whole thing with, Power Forward, the NGO pop-ups that were getting $2 billion. That's all they were doing. It was one big gravy train. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. So sure, okay, the media is going to get exposed and it should be exposed. I don't like the idea that Jake Tapper thinks he's doing the expose because he's the one that needs to be exposed. Hypocrisy, right? Anyway, here's Rachel Maddow's replacement, who's just sinking fast. If you thought Rachel was bad, check out this chick, Peppermint Patty. You've never seen such bad numbers.
I hadn't seen him in person during that period of time. I never saw that person, not a single time, and I was in the Oval Office every day, that was on that debate stage. I'm not a doctor. Aging happens quite quickly. Cover-up is a very loaded term, I think.
Well, it means you knew that it was really bad and you're pretending otherwise versus you're deluding yourself, which I think is what people do a lot.
Well, I understand, but I still think it's like cover-up is often like a crime, right? People use that term as they relate to Watergate or the covering up of not sharing public information about a war.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit of a dangerous term.
Right, because, you might be in a little bit of trouble. Just a teeny little smidge. I don't know. You and KGP and Jake Tapper and, how could I forget, guys? This is the best one of all. This one will live in infamy. Do I have the right soundbite? I think I do. Joe Scarborough, best Biden ever.
Guy's mental state, I've said it for years now. He's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically, because he's been around for 50 years. And, I don't know if people know this or not, Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is, and I don't really, I don't really care. Start your tape right now because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second.
Yeah. Okay, so they lied. And they're going to continue lying. And that's what's so challenging and tough about the mainstream media business right now. But you know what? It's okay, right? Because we're here and we just passed 750,000 subs. Thank you for all the praise I'm seeing from some Unc Andy and then a piece of my mind who actually sent me a message on Twitter. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for that. And wow, what a day to hit 750,000. We're upwards of that now. Please make sure that you subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff so that you know when I am here.